Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is often confused as a condition that you should just work through and move on. But recovering from trauma takes time, and the symptoms of PTSD can happen suddenly and without warning, even years after your initial traumatic event. If you are avoiding people, places, and activities you love, on edge or anxious, experiencing negative emotions like shame, regret, guilt, or fear, hyper-focused on intrusive thoughts, flashbacks, or nightmares, you may want to talk to your healthcare provider about possible PTSD. You're not alone in your battles.
Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report and Sam's Mental Health Day, Thursday, January 18th, 2024. We're going to do PTSD Part 2. I can confirm that PTSD is not something you get over. If you forgive someone like I forgive Father Wilson for telling me a terrible sexual word he asked what he was, and for the most part, he was a good person, and if you forgive him, he was a teacher. He helped me through tough situations. Other staff members had been mean to me or yelling at me for no good reason. He also volunteered at a fire department, which automatically makes you a good person in my mind. I viewed that he was just sick and couldn't help it. Now, times I get mad at him, but forgive him for another thing that he caused PTSD. I confirmed that I tell myself I forgive him after I get upset with him. I also have other PTSD from getting punched in the face and getting a black eye, and remember seeing yellow stuff and black stuff falling out and having concussion probably, and had to go to the hospital to get stitches. And 2 fights, me including. It seems like a lot of my PTSD goes back to high school. Remember until one day, or put the pictures together. Remembering it one day for PTSD is something that happens. I tell this in every podcast for PTSD because it's important, and I will continue to tell it. And it's important to realize for PTSD. Body post-traumatic stress disorder is PTSD is a real disorder that develops when a person has had experience with a scary or shocking, terrifying, dangerous. These distressful or traumatic events usually involve situations someone's been threatened or severe injured has occurred in a child, or danger. Causes. You can get PTSD living through seeing trauma such as water, natural disaster, sexual assault, physical abuse, or bad accident. PTSD makes you feel stressed and afraid after danger it is over. It affects life and people around you. PTSD starts at different times for people's lives. Signs of PTSD are after frightening events that continue. Other people develop new or more severe signs in months or even later years. PTSD is often related to seriousness of trauma, whether the trauma was repeated or not, what individual's proximity to the trauma was, and what their relationships was with the victim,
perpetrator
of trauma. To be considered for PTSD signs, you must at least have 1 month and be severe enough to interfere with school or work relationships. PTSD can happen to anyone. Symptoms of PTSD may last 2 months or 2 years. PTSD symptoms are flashbacks, feeling like events are happening again, trouble sleeping or nightmares, feeling alone or detached from others, losing interest in activities. I lost interest in sports, having anger outbursts or other extreme reactions, feeling worried or guilt, frightening thoughts, having trouble concentrating, having physical pain like headaches or stomach or aches, avoidance of or memories, thoughts, or feelings about what is closely associated with a traumatic event, problems remembering negative beliefs about themselves or others, irritability, feeling very fraudulent,
Startling easily.
Symptoms: anxiety, depression, and substance are also seen with people with PTSD. Testing for PTSD is according to the National Institute of Mental Health. A doctor who experiences helping people with mental illness, such as a psychiatrist or psychologist, can diagnose PTSD. Get the help. There are several ways you can manage PTSD. Talking to a special trained doctor or counselor help many people with PTSD. This is called talk therapy. Medicine you can help feel less afraid and tense and depressed. It might be a way to take a few for them out to work. Learning about how to talk about mental health to help speak to your loved ones. There's a link here. You may think experiencing them any mental health concerns. You can also copy and paste this in Google. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report and Sam's Mental Health Day.
So, you've been diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. You might be thinking, does therapy for PTSD really work? Or what about medications? Well, there are treatments that work and you have choices. We're going to show you PTSD treatments that are evidence-based, which means they've been proven to work in multiple scientific studies. Two of the most effective PTSD treatments are cognitive processing therapy and prolonged exposure. Both are cognitive behavioral therapies, CBT for short. CBT is far from just talking. You'll learn skills to manage your PTSD symptoms. Cognitive processing therapy teaches you how to change negative thoughts about your trauma, which can have a big impact on how you feel. Prolonged exposure helps you confront memories and situations you've been avoiding since your trauma. This gets easier with time, and eventually, you won't need to avoid them. Another effective therapy is EMDR, which involves thinking about images and feelings that distress you while doing rapid eye movements. This can help you change how you react to trauma memories. Therapies like these usually take 3 to 4 months of weekly visits, and improvement can last for years. Medications are another effective option. The best medications for treating PTSD symptoms are antidepressants, specifically SSRIs and SNRIs. Antidepressants work by helping brain cells communicate better, and that can make you feel better. Improvements in your PTSD symptoms will last for as long as you keep taking them. You might have heard about benzodiazepines, or benzos. In the past, doctors prescribed these anti-anxiety medications for PTSD. New research shows anti-anxiety medications may interfere with therapy and do not improve PTSD. These medications can also lead to harmful side effects like confusion, fogginess, and accidents or falls. If you're taking benzodiazepines or other medications with potentially harmful side effects like atypical antipsychotics, talk to your doctor about whether you should safely stop them. There are more effective options for PTSD. It's common to have other problems at the same time you have PTSD, like chronic pain, depression, substance abuse, a history of traumatic brain injury, or insomnia. Often, treatments effective for PTSD can help with these problems too. In other cases, your doctor might suggest an additional treatment. For example, there's a special type of cognitive behavioral therapy called CBTI. The I is for insomnia. CBTI teaches you skills that can improve your sleep, even after just a few therapy appointments. Some antidepressants can help with sleep too, and there is a medication called prazosin specifically for nightmares. So, where do you start? Talk to your provider about which effective treatment options are right for you. Therapy, medications, or maybe both. And remember, it's always important to talk to your doctor before stopping or switching medications. For more information, visit the National Center for PTSD website at www.ptsd.va.gov. To find a mental health provider, click the Get Help for PTSD button or see success stories at About Face.
Anyone?
Mike, you have a year left on your contract.